Hey guys, in this video we're making a simple single strand beaded bracelet. This design has one sliding knot so that you can adjust your bracelet bigger and smaller. For our design today we're using about 55 centimeters of 0.8mm polyester cotton thread. So we just measure that out and cut it to length. We will need one more length of thread later for our sliding knot as well. I like to place a clip on the end of my thread as well so I don't lose any of my beads. Now for my design today I'm using 6mm amethyst beads. This design is really versatile though, you can use whatever size beads you like as long as your thread fits inside the hole. So now we'll just go ahead and place all our beads on to our thread, which I'm sure you all know how to do. I'm going to bead down to about the same size as my wrist measurement. So my wrist measurement is about 16.5 centimeters. So I'm going to bead down to about 16.5 centimeters as well. Once we've beaded down to our desired length, see mine here is about 16 or 17 centimeters. Now we can take our thread off the clip, and placing the ends of our thread together we're going to pull all the beads down so they're sitting in the middle of our cording. Once the beads are sitting right in the center of our thread, we want to grab onto the thread right on the side of the beads there. So that little point right there, and we're tying a simple overhand knot. So bringing our thread around to form a loop, bringing the end through the loop and pulling it down nice and tight onto that point. Now sliding those beads up against that knot, we swap the bracelet onto the opposite side and we're going to do the same thing on this side of the beads. So bringing that thread around to form a loop, bringing the end through the loop. This time we're gently going to work our knot tight so that it sits up nice and close and tight next to the beads. Gently working it up closer so that it holds those beads secure in the center. Making sure your knots are pulled nice and tight, and you should have something that looks like this with a beaded portion in the center and a thread on each side. Now we can bring our threads around to start to form our bracelet shape. So bringing it around so that our threads overlap. I like to have my overlap threads here on the right hand side. Now we need another length of our 0.8mm thread. So we're using about 40 centimeters for this sliding knot part of our design. Now we're going to make our sliding knot with square knots. So start by placing your thread underneath where these cords overlap. Bringing it to the middle, and then we bring the left side cord around and across to the right hand side, leaving a little loop here on the left. Now we bring the right side cord down over this thread here, and then we're gently going to take it underneath to come up that loop on the left hand side, pulling both ends tight. For a square knot we alternate each stitch. So now we bring the right side cord around across to the left and bring the left side cord down over and then underneath to come up the right side loop. Now it's back to a left side stitch. Left side cord around and across, right side cord down over and underneath to come up that loop on the left hand side. And now back to a right side stitch. So bringing the right side cord around across to the left, left side cord comes down over, under and up the loop on the right hand side. So keep alternating your stitches and just repeat this process until your little square knot is as long as you would like that slider to be. So you can see how long mine is there. I'm just going to do a couple more stitches on mine and then it will blend in with the beads. It's totally up to you how long you want this little slider to be. Once you're happy with it, then cut each tail off on the sides and gently singe with a lighter so it doesn't fray and undo. So I just gently melt and tap it to fuse it onto the knot, just being careful that you don't melt it because you still need this knot to slide along. So that's the whole bracelet with sliding knot portion. You can check that your cords slide along the sliding knot okay. Now we're just going to size our bracelet. So extending it out and placing it over your hand onto your wrist. And then you can see where you need your little knots on the ends of your cords to be. Making sure to leave enough length on your cords so that you can fit it over your hand and onto your wrist. I like to place a little bead onto each thread as well just before I tie a knot. I find this makes it easier to use the bracelet. So just placing that bead on and then tying another simple overhand knot onto each thread, making sure to leave that little bit of length so that your bracelet can slide. Once both your beads on, you want to make sure both your knots are sitting nice and evenly on each thread. Gently working them down so they sit nice and even. I like to try it on for size one more time before cutting those ends off. But if you're happy with it, then you can cut those tails off just outside the knots and singe them with a lighter so they don't fray.